The first time my ex said the words "I can't afford child support." He was wearing a watch that cost more than my car. We were sitting in the hallway outside family court, waiting for our case to be called. I had a manila folder stuffed with daycare bills, medical receipts, and a pay stub from my second job at the grocery store. He had a new leather jacket, fresh sneakers, and the kind of smug half-smile that made me want to throw my coffee at him. "Lena, seriously," he said, scrolling through his phone. "You know I'd help if I could. But the judge will see my income. I'm barely making anything. We'll probably end up at like $50 a month. Don't make this a thing." The watch flashed when he gestured. I made it a thing. But in that first hearing, he still won. Because Mark always knew how to play to an audience. Mark and I met in college. He was the funny guy in my freshman psych class, who always had a story about partying but somehow still got B's without trying. I was the quiet one who color-coded her notes. For reasons that still baffle me, he decided I was intriguing. He brought me coffee, laughed at my bad puns, walked me home late at night. He told me I balanced him. And for a while that felt good. We moved in together after graduation. He bounced around between sales jobs. I got an entry-level administrative assistant position at a small logistics company. When I got pregnant at 24, it was an accident but not a tragedy. We'd talked about kids someday. I pictured us figuring it out together. Reality did not match the picture. Pregnancy made me tired and emotional. It did not magically make Mark grow up. He still spent Saturdays networking at bars with his friends. He still quit jobs the second a manager annoyed him. When I tried to talk budgets, he'd say, "Relax, we'll be fine. I'll close a big deal soon." The big deal never came. Our daughter Mia did. She was tiny and furious and perfect. The night we brought her home, I watched Mark hold her on his chest and thought, "This will change him. It has to." It didn't. If anything, he seemed resentful. Of the crying. Of the lack of sleep. Of the fact that my attention was not 100% on his needs. 3 months in, I found messages on his laptop to another woman. Flirty. Explicit. A whole thread titled "Wish you were here" instead of "my nagging baby mama." I confronted him. He apologized. Cried. Said he was overwhelmed, that it was just fantasy, that he'd never actually cheat. I believed him. The second time, when Mia was 9 months old and I found hotel charges on the credit card, I didn't. We split up. I packed Mia's clothes, her stuffed rabbit, and my laptop, and moved into a tiny one-bedroom apartment across town. Mark cried again. This time, I didn't stay. We did the try to co-parent without lawyers thing for about 6 minutes. Then Mark realized child support wasn't optional. He'd smile when he picked Mia up. Take a picture for Instagram, caption "daddy-daughter date." Then forget to send his half of daycare. After 2 months of me choosing between paying the electric bill and buying formula, I filed for child support. He was furious. "You're going to drag me into court?" he said. "After everything I've done for you?" "You bought a crib," I said. "Once. My mom paid the hospital bill. I've been covering everything else." "You make more than I do," he argued. "I also feed, clothe, and house our kid," I said. "You see her twice a week and post about it like you're father of the year." He scoffed. "You're just doing this to punish me," he said. "If I wanted to punish you," I said, "I'd post the screenshots of your cheating. This is about Mia." That shut him up for a minute. Then his lawyer brain kicked in. Not because he was a lawyer. Because Mark had the soul of one of those guys who reads 2 Reddit threads and thinks he can argue Supreme Court cases. He Googled how to pay less child support like it was a how-to guide. Step 1. Underreport income. He suddenly became self-employed. No more pay stubs. All commission-based work paid under the table. Step 2. Ask for more custody. "If I have her half the time, I don't have to pay, right?" he asked his buddy one night, not realizing their chat was showing on the iPad Mia was watching cartoons on when I walked in. I saw the notification pop up. "Yeah man, 50/50 or even 40/60 will lower it. Judges love involved dads." So Mark became an involved dad. At least on paper. He asked for joint physical custody alternating weeks. In reality, he bailed constantly. "Got a last-minute work trip, can you keep her?" "Car trouble, can we swap weekends?" "Bro, Mia's sick, Better if she stays with you so I don't miss work. I kept screenshots of every emergency, every time he asked me to cover. But at that first hearing, it didn't matter. He showed up in a slightly rumpled button-down, with a folder of self-printed invoices showing his inconsistent income. He talked about how much he loved every minute he got with Mia. He told the judge I was great with her, and that he wanted to be more hands-on. The judge looked at his files, looked at my pay stubs, did some math, came up with a number that sounded big until you remembered it was supposed to cover half of a child's life. Mr. Daniels will pay $220 per month in child support, the judge said. Given the shared custody arrangement and his fluctuating income, this is appropriate. Mark grinned. On the way out, he said, "See? Told you it wasn't that bad. Now can we stop fighting?" I thought about the $900 daycare bill in my bag. The $50 sneakers Mia needed because her toes were curling in her old ones. My second job at the grocery store stocking shelves until midnight. We were absolutely still fighting. The secret second family entered the chat about a year later. At first it was subtle. Mark had always cycled through girlfriends. A month here, 3 months there. Most never met Mia. This one did. Her name was Kayla. She was pretty with kind eyes. She worked as a dental assistant. The first time I met her, she came with Mark to drop Mia off. "Hi," she said, holding out a hand. "I'm Kayla. I've heard so much about you." "Hopefully not everything," I muttered. She laughed awkwardly. "We're picking Mia up early next weekend," Mark said. "Family barbecue at my parents'." "Your parents?" I repeated. "You barely saw them when we were together." "Things change," he said. They did. Fast. Within 6 months, he was posting selfies with Kayla and a little boy named Luke. Caption, "So grateful for my little family." I stared at my phone. Little family? Whose kid was Luke? I did some harmless stalking. Kayla's Facebook was public. Her about said single mom to the coolest 3-year-old. Her photos told the rest. Picture after picture of Mark teaching Luke to ride a bike, Mark and Kayla at the zoo with kids on their shoulders, Mark and Luke in matching superhero shirts. In one caption, Kayla wrote, "Can't believe how lucky we are to have you in our lives, Mark. You stepped up when you didn't have to." My jaw clenched. Stepped up. The guy who couldn't afford more than $220 a month for his own biological daughter was out here cosplaying Superdad for someone else's kid. To be clear, Luke deserved stability. I didn't begrudge him that. But I couldn't ignore the double standard. Mark called me one night, excited. "Guess what?" he said. "Kayla and I found a townhouse. Moving in next month." "Cool," I said. "Can you finally give me an address so I know where Mia is on your weeks?" "It's not finalized." He hedged. "Like the last 3 mystery apartments?" I asked. He changed the subject. A week later he texted, "Hey, I need to adjust my support. With the new place and helping with Luke's preschool, I'm tapped. We should go back to court." Helping with Luke's preschool. Not our daughters. I saw red. "You can tell that to the judge," I replied. This time I got a lawyer. Not a fancy one. A legal aid attorney named Sanchez, who wore thrift store blazers and had the patience of a saint. He looked over my folder. Mark's texts, screenshots of his Instagram, copies of his inconsistent invoices, every time he'd skipped a custody day. "You've documented well," he said. "That helps." "He keeps saying he can't pay," I said. "But he just moved into a townhouse and is paying for another kid's preschool." "Child support is based on income, not expenses," Sanchez said. "But judges don't love it when someone cries poverty while they're voluntarily taking on new financial responsibilities. Especially for non-dependents." I repeated. "Luke isn't his legal child," Sanchez said. "He may be acting as a father figure, but that doesn't reduce his obligations to Mia." I hesitated. "I don't want to hurt Luke," I said. "He's just a kid." Sanchez nodded. "We're not going after Luke," he said. "We're going after Mark's narrative. And to do that, we might need Kayla." "How?" I asked. "If Mark's underreporting income and supporting another household, we can subpoena records," he said. "Lease agreements, bank transfers, daycare payments. We can also call Kayla as a witness, but we should probably talk to her first. Nobody likes being surprised with a subpoena." The idea of talking to Mark's girlfriend made my stomach twist. But the idea of letting him keep gaming the system felt worse. So I put on my big girl pants and messaged her. I started simple. Hey Kayla, this is Lena, Mia's mom. Could we grab coffee sometime? I'd like the kids to know each other better, and there are some scheduling things I want to discuss. She replied 15 minutes later. Hi Lena. Sure, I'd like that. I've been meaning to reach out. Mark said it might be weird. Weird for him. We met at a cafe with a play area. Luke and Mia immediately started building a tower with foam blocks. Kayla ordered a latte. I got black coffee I couldn't afford. Up close she seemed tired. Her smile didn't quite reach her eyes. I'm glad you reached out, she said. Mark says you're really busy, so I didn't want to impose. I am busy, I said. Working 2 jobs to cover what child support doesn't. Her smile faltered. I thought Mark was helping, she said. He always complains about how much he sends you. I almost choked. $220, I said. Per month. For half her daycare. That's it. Her brows knit. Wait, she said. He told me he pays so much he can barely breathe. He said you keep taking him back to court for more. I laughed, sharp. He also told me he's barely making any money, I said. But you guys just moved into a townhouse? She shifted. We split the rent, she said. He covers most of it. And Luke's preschool. And half the groceries. He says it's only fair, since I don't make as much. I took a breath. This wasn't her fault. She was being used too. Kayla, I said carefully, do you know how child support is calculated? She shook her head. He showed me a chart once, she said. Said the judge doesn't care that he's helping with Luke. That they just see numbers. I felt bad for him. I pulled out my phone. Opened a photo of the state's child support guidelines. The judge does care about numbers, I said. But all of them. Including the ones he hides. Last time, he convinced the court his income was half of what it really is. He went cash only at his job. Took on extra work under the table. He did everything possible to look broke on paper. She stared at the screen. Why would he do that? She asked, voice small. To avoid paying what he owes his first child, I said. While playing superdad to your son. And he's about to ask the judge to reduce it even more. Her eyes filled with tears. He told me you were crazy, she whispered. That you used Mia to bleed him dry. He said he was the victim. I nodded. He's very good at that, I said. We sat in silence for a moment. Luke knocked over the block tower. Mia laughed. They started rebuilding. I don't want to be in the middle of your drama, Kayla said finally. But I also don't want to be part of screwing over another kid's mom. I hesitated. I'm asking for one thing, I said. Honesty. When we go back to court, I want to show the judge the whole picture. If you're willing to tell the truth about what Mark really pays and how he lives, it could change everything for Mia. She swallowed. Would I have to testify? She asked. Maybe, I said. Or we can just rely on documents. Sanchez thinks we can subpoena records without dragging you on the stand if you're not comfortable. But your cooperation would help. She looked at the kids again. Then at me. You deserve better than $220, she said. And Mia deserves a dad who doesn't lie about her. She took a deep breath. Tell your lawyer he can call me, she said. Court the second time around was different. For one thing, I wasn't alone. Sanchez sat beside me with a neatly tabbed binder. Kayla sat in the row behind us, pale but resolute. For another, Mark looked less smug. More twitchy. He'd gotten a notice from the court that his financial records were being reviewed. He didn't know yet how much we had. The judge was the same. Gray hair. Tired eyes. No patience for theatrics. Mr. Daniels is petitioning to lower his child support obligation, she said, shuffling papers. Claiming a significant change in income. Ms. Carter, she nodded at me, using my maiden Naima poses. We'll start with Mr. Daniels. Mark launched into his speech. Your Honor, I've been doing my best, he said. But with inflation and my hours being cut, I'm barely scraping by. I support my household with my partner and her son. There just isn't anything left. I love my daughter, but I can't give what I don't have. The judge nodded. We'll see what the numbers say, she said. Ms. Carter's counsel? Sanchez stood. Your Honor, my client contends that Mr. Daniels' income has actually increased, he said. He has taken steps to conceal it by moving to cash-based work. Further, He has voluntarily assumed significant financial responsibilities for a separate household while minimizing his support for his biological child. The judge raised an eyebrow. "Do you have proof?" she asked. Sanchez smiled slightly. "Yes, Your Honor," he said. "If I may direct your attention to Exhibit A." He handed copies to the clerk. The judge glanced at them. "Lease for a townhouse on Willow Lane," she read. "Monthly rent, $1,850. Payment source, Mr. Daniels' bank account." Mark shifted. "I help with rent," he said quickly. "We split it. My girlfriend." Sanchez held up another page. "Exhibit B, Your Honor," he said. "Bank statements showing full rent payments drawn from Mr. Daniels' account for the last 8 months. No corresponding transfers from his partner." The judge's expression sharpened. "Mr. Daniels?" she said. He swallowed. "She pays cash sometimes," he said. "We don't deposit everything." "Of course," Sanchez said smoothly. Which conveniently keeps it off the record. Moving on, Exhibit C. Invoices from Little Sprouts Preschool, listing Mr. Daniels as the financial guarantor. Tuition, $620 per month. Fully paid, on time. The judge flipped through the pages. "Mr. Daniels, are you supporting another child?" she asked. "No," he said. "Luke isn't mine biologically. I'm just helping. Yet you claim you cannot afford more than $220 a month for your own biological child," she said. "Interesting." He flushed. "With respect, Your Honor, I'm just trying to build a stable home," he said. "For all the kids in my life. It's not like Mia is lacking. Her mom is doing fine." Sanchez's jaw tightened. "With even more respect, Your Honor, doing fine involves my client working 60 hours a week and relying on food pantries sometimes," he said. Meanwhile, Mr. Daniels posts photos from beach trips, new electronics, and dinners out. "Social media is not evidence," the judge said. "Which is why we focused on bank records," Sanchez said. "However, we do have one more piece to clarify Mr. Daniels' living situation." He turned. "Ms. Jensen, would you please come forward?" Kayla stood. Mark's head snapped around. "Kayla, what are you doing?" he hissed. She didn't look at him. She went to the witness stand. The clerk swore her in. "Ms. Jensen," Sanchez said gently, "how long have you and Mr. Daniels been living together?" "About 8 months," she said. "And in that time, has he contributed to your household expenses?" he asked. "Yes," she said. "He pays the rent and Luke's preschool. We split groceries. I cover utilities. Has he ever told you he could not afford his child support obligation to Ms. Carter?" Sanchez asked. "Yes," she said. "He complains about it a lot. Says she's taking advantage. That he's drowning. Did you believe him?" Sanchez asked. She hesitated. "I did," she said. "Until I saw his bank statements. And the email from Ms. Carter." Mark finally exploded. "This is ridiculous," he said, slamming his hand on the table. "She's my ex's friend now? They're ganging up on me. This isn't fair." The judge banged her gavel once. "Mr. Daniels, control yourself," she said. "This is a court, not a reality show." Laughter rippled through the room. She turned back to Kayla. "Ms. Jensen, did you come here willingly?" she asked. "Yes, Your Honor," Kayla said. "I didn't want to be part of lying to another mom." The judge nodded. "Thank you," she said. "You may step down." Kayla returned to the bench behind me, avoiding Mark's burning glare. The judge stacked the exhibits, then looked at Mark. "Mr. Daniels," she said, "you petitioned this court claiming financial hardship. You failed to disclose significant voluntary expenses and income. You appear to prioritize supporting a household you share with a partner and her child while minimizing your obligations to your own child. That is not how this works." He opened his mouth. She held up a hand. "Don't," she said. "I've heard enough." She turned to Sanchez. "Ms. Carter's counsel, based on these new figures, what child support amount are you requesting?" Sanchez referenced his notes. "Using the state's guidelines and Mr. Daniels' actual income plus imputed income from his under-the-table work, we request an adjustment to $640 per month, retroactive to the date of his petition," he said. "We also ask for wage garnishment to ensure timely payment." The judge scribbled something. "That seems appropriate," she said. "Mr. Daniels, your support is increased to $640 per month, effective immediately, with arrears from the last 8 months due over the next 12. We will issue a wage garnishment order. Mark's face drained of color. Garnishment? He croaked. Yes, she said. You've demonstrated you are not reliable in voluntarily paying. This will remove temptation. She leaned forward. And let me be very clear, she added. If you return to this court having again misrepresented your finances, I will not be inclined to be generous. Child support is not a punishment. It is your responsibility as a parent. Your attempts to avoid it while enjoying a comfortable lifestyle will not be rewarded. He slumped back, stunned. The judge looked at me. Ms. Carter, she said, I know this process has been taxing. Thank you for providing thorough documentation. It made our job much easier. I swallowed. Thank you, Your Honor, I said. Gavel. Case closed. Outside the courtroom, things got messy. Mark rounded on Kayla first. How could you do this? He demanded. You ruined us. She stood her ground. You ruined us when you lied, she said. To me, to her, to the court. He scoffed. Oh, come on, he said. Everyone fudges numbers a little. It's not a bigot is a big deal, she cut in. You made me feel guilty for you while you were cheating your own kid. I'm not okay with that. He looked genuinely shocked. You're leaving? He asked. She took a breath. I don't know yet, she said. But I'm not going home with you today. She walked away. He turned to me. This isn't over, he hissed. You think you won because you got a few extra dollars? I met his eyes. I didn't do this to win, I said. I did it so Mia doesn't have to live on ramen and secondhand shoes while you play house with Instagram dads. Grow up, Mark. He laughed without humor. You're so self-righteous, he said. Maybe, I said. But at least I'm not self-righteous and broke. He flipped me off and stalked down the hall. Sanchez watched him go. You okay? He asked. I exhaled. For the first time in a long time, I said. People think child support fixes everything. It doesn't. $640 a month didn't magically erase the years of stress, or turn Mark into Father of the Year. He still missed pickups sometimes. He still made snide comments. He still posted carefully curated photos of his dad life on social media. But the money helped. I dropped my second job. Started taking evening classes to move up at work. Mia got new sneakers before hers had holes. We stopped eating quite so much pasta with butter. More importantly, something shifted inside me. For years, I'd treated Mark's behavior like bad weather. Inconvenient but inevitable. I'd grumbled. Complained to friends. But I'd also accepted it. That day in court, watching his second family sit behind me while the judge read him the riot act, I realized something. I didn't have to accept it. I couldn't change who he was. But I could change what I allowed him to get away with. Kayla and I weirdly became allies. We'd text about schedules, coordinate on birthdays, make sure Mia and Luke saw each other enough to actually feel like siblings. She left him for a few months, tried again, left again. I didn't judge. I knew how hard it was to detach from his charm. One night, as we watched the kids build a blanket fort in my living room, she said, "Thank you for forcing me to see who he really is." I laughed. I didn't do it for you, I said. I did it for Mia. I know, she said. That's why it matters. Mia is 6 now. She knows she has a dad who lives in another house and a bonus brother named Luke. She doesn't know about courtrooms and bank statements and garnishments. She just knows there's always food in the fridge, shoes that fit, and a mom who shows up. Someday, when she's older, if she asks why I fought so hard, I'll tell her. Because your father tried to use you as a shield to avoid responsibility. So I found the people he cared most about impressing his new family. The judge, the world, and I showed them the truth. Not out of spite. Out of protection. My ex used our kid to avoid paying child support. So I brought the judge his secret second family. And for once, the system didn't reward the guy with the best performance. It sided with the kid. That's all I ever wanted.